Hey YouTube, Pipe Lawyer here, coming to you from Tobacco World here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a beautiful, gorgeous night. The sun is starting to set, and it's time for this week's edition of Friday Night Pipes. You know, and I got to thinking about what pipe I would feature as this week's MVP, or most valuable pipe. And several came to mind. For instance, there was the full bent Boswell brandy pipe that I featured yesterday, with the honey blonde stain and the 3-inch tall bowl and the amber stem. Beautiful pipe, smokes brilliantly, loved it. But then I got to thinking, well, you know, there was a corn cob that I featured in one of last week's vids when I went to Chattanooga. It was kind of a joke, it was kind of a lark. And I said, well, you know, there was the Mario Grande straight jumbo that I got, I think it was this past Tuesday at my mom's house, and that pipe is just absolutely awesome. Takes up my whole hand, nice 3-inch tall bowl, and for a pipe that size, it sits very comfortably in my jaw. Doesn't hurt whatsoever. A nice, smooth, full draw, and I'm really enjoying it. It's becoming a favorite of mine. And then I got to thinking, you know, well, there was the makeover pipe that I got back from Floyd Norwood this past week, on Monday I think it was, and I'm just still amazed and astounded at what a turnaround Floyd Norwood did on that pipe. You know, as a matter of fact, this afternoon I had the pipe with me, and I showed Steve, the guy that gave it to me. I said, Steve, this is the pipe that you gave me, and this is it, you know, all redone. And he was just in shock. He was just absolutely amazed at how good of a job it was made over. But there's one pipe that came to my mind, and that stood out in my mind and my heart. And it was a pipe that I was smoking when I made the video in the coffee shop in Chattanooga this past Sunday, before we came back to Atlanta. And here's the reason why it was special to me, is that I was smoking the pipe in what is the Art District in Chattanooga. And in the Art District there's the observatory, which I made one of the other vids from, and the museum, which you saw also, that white columned house, was all very, very nice. And that led on the other side of that down to an area that contained what's called a sculpture garden. And what it was a quaint little charming garden with a lot of greenery and an open space where you had several life-size and larger-than-life bronze sculptures. It was very charming. It was very quiet, very peaceful. And the thing is that to get to that sculpture garden, there were a little cluster of nice little coffee houses and restaurants. Not big, but small little quaint, you know, restaurants, bistros, kind of clustered next to each other. And to get from one to the other, you had to go past a little walkway that had some ivy growing on the wall. And there was a lot of red brick around there. It was very charming. And it had a lot of what I call nooks and crannies, which I thought was very, very artsy and very bohemian, I guess you can call it, which appeals to me. And it's special to me because I once used to live in a house in my early youth in Brooklyn that had that same kind of architecture, that was owned by the gentleman that was like the grandfather in my life. In fact, he's a doctor that my mother used to work for, and he owned the house, and he used to rent us one of the apartments there. Essentially, it is shaped like a castle. It had very castle-like features to it. And inside the house, you had a lot of dark, polished wood, a lot of nooks and crannies and everything. And the reason that this past Sunday was so special to me was because when I went around this area where the sculpture garden was, I got very sentimental, because it brought back those times in my early youth when I was living in that essentially a castle. And the gentleman that owned it, my late doctor, was, again, like a grandfather to me, and I loved him very dearly. And he passed away about 20 years ago. But being in that little sculpture garden where there was a lot of art, a lot of beauty, a lot of sunshine, and a lot of the architecture that reminded me of his old house, made me kind of soft-hearted, very sentimental. And the pipe that I was smoking at the time is this week's MVP, most valuable pipe, and that is the coffee garden pipe featured in my vid. I'm not sure if you can see it. It is the Boswell full bent egg with the glass-like shine to it and the dark brown walnut stain. It's got the rustication there on the bottom, spot rustication, and also on the underside of the shank. And this is the one, if you remember from the Pretty in Pink edition of Friday Night Pipes that I was teased about. It has the marvelous charcoal gray pearl finished stem. I'm not so sure if you can catch it in this light, but if you have some trouble seeing it, you may want to go back to the video that I made on Friday Night Pipes 2 weeks ago. So, that is this week's MVP, or most valuable pipe, the Chattanooga Coffee Garden pipe. Smokes great and has a little bit of sentimental value to me. So I've taken the opportunity now to load it up with some Pipework and Wilkie's rum cake. And it just so happens that my late doctor used to smoke a blend that was soaked in rum. And so I'm getting to feel his presence all over again. So that's this week's MVP. And that's it for this week's edition of Friday Night Pipes. Thank you so much for letting me share this with you, because it's very special to me. And hope all is well with you all out there in YouTube land. Take care of yourselves, and remember, this is Pipe Lawyer saying cheers, and I'll present the evidence, but you be the judge. Take care and good night. God bless.